I've hooked up a simple pair of rabbit ears. If you ever see one of these for sale, don't be fooled. These are not actually old antennas. These are fairly modern. These have cheap aluminum tubes, and this is just plastic, single piece base and end ball. A real one would have solid brass tubes, and there'd be a Bakelite ball on top of a cast iron base. But at any rate, it'll do the job for now. So, turn this back on. What I'm doing is we have one low power VHF broadcast station left in the Chicago area. It's on channel 6. It's a simulcast with one of the FM light jazz stations, and they show still images of the cityscape. So assuming that the set's working, when we do get the picture on here, that's what we'll be seeing, but I should be able to hear the light jazz for now. Oh yeah. So I play with fine tuning a little bit down here. Oh jeez. Alright. Just like the volume is all the way down right now. If I just tweak it, that's really loud. So for a low power station, I'm actually picking it up quite well. Alright, next stage. Since I've had this running a few minutes now, no apparent problems, it's picking up the sound just fine. I'll pop in that tube and see if we can get a picture. Okay, I've replaced the 6BG6 output tube and the 5V4 horizontal damper. I also brought out the control panel to remind myself what does what. So you have brightness and contrast over here, and horizontal and vertical here. And, well, channel and fine tuning and volume and focus over here. So let's fire this back up. Alright, those two tubes I just put in, those are two of the highest power tubes in this set, and they are lighting up and nothing bad's happening, which is a very good sign. Get sound again. I wouldn't expect to get a picture right away, because who knows how all these controls are set from all the fiddling around and all the work I did on it. Let's see, first I'll crank up the brightness and contrast. Yeah, that's a good sign. That's what you call raster, meaning you've got horizontal and vertical deflection. Yeah. It's kind of weird. See the outer knob? It's kind of hard to tell what the inner and what the outer is. I bet that's contrast though. Well, I said it because some sets, when you turn up the contrast, there's a dramatic effect on other aspects of it. I noticed when I turned that control up, which is the outer knob, the volume got a lot louder. And, more importantly, got a picture. So, I'll play around with the horizontal and vertical. Let's see if I can get that to behave itself. There's your vertical. Boy, these controls are touchy. The vertical was the most hacked up circuit in this set when I was restoring it. And horizontal seems okay. But you hear that high-pitched sound? That's what happens when your horizontal's off a bit. The circuit's really not happy. Everything's meant to be in balance. Like that. Turn the brightness and contrast down. So, alright. That's about all you get on this station. It just says it's hard to read. The focus is pretty bad. But it says smooth jazz. Like WLFM LP Chicago. There's a scrolling time and date at the bottom. Sometimes these test tubes, they don't work quite as well as a real tube. in terms of focus and contrast and so on, because they're meant to be universal and work with a wide range of sets. Just so you can make, get it working like to the point where I'm at now. So what I'm going to do is pull out the full-size picture tube and pop it in. But so far everything is looking really, really good. I've reinstalled the 10FP4 CRT, making sure to push it all the way back against the yoke so I get full undistorted deflection of the electron beam. I also reinstalled the high voltage cage for safety's sake. And everything looks okay, so let's see what we get. Alright, well, the tubes are glowing like before. There's sound. I tested this picture tube recently on my Suncor CR70 and I got some weird readings. The emission was fine, but I wasn't getting any grid control. So, yeah, it seems to be working alright, so I don't know. Like before, the sync is really touchy. It's horizontal. Come on. There are some adjustments on the back that I should go through following the service manual to probably make these front controls less touchy, but there you go. Focus is working properly now with the picture tube. And when you adjust this contrast, it really has a huge effect on the gain, it seems like. So whenever I adjust the contrast, it seems like I lose synchronization. Alright, that's not too bad. Considering I haven't properly gone through and adjusted all the other controls yet. By that I mean there's horizontal and vertical linearity, horizontal drive, and so on. There are about 5 potentiometers and 2 or 3 coils in the back that should be adjusted to really zone in on a perfect picture. But yeah, this is looking really good. So hey, I'm going to grab a digital converter box so we can watch something a little more interesting on this picture tube. I've hooked up a converter box which converts the over-the-air ATSC signal to an NTSC signal on channel 4, which I have going to the antenna terminals, and here we go. Good old Perry Mason. Picture looks pretty good. Audio is not so great, but I think that's more a function of the converter box. If you watch some of my earlier videos, you'll see that I have had plenty of trouble with this converter box on other vintage TVs. I think the way it modulates the audio or the carrier frequency is just off a little bit. You can see when if I tune it off a little bit, I lose the audio altogether. Solution to that I found is to use a blonder tongue modulator like this guy down here, which allows you to independently adjust the audio and video levels, and then I can output it to channel 3. It takes composite input for audio and video, modulates it, and then you can feed it into your vintage TV. And it actually has enough output power you can just connect an antenna to the RF output here and actually transmit for about 20 to 50 feet and pick it up over rabbit ears on a vintage TV. So yeah, you know, I wish they were all this easy, but trust me, they're not. But yeah, I'm quite happy with the way this turned out. Now I have some boring stuff to go through with fine-tuning all the controls on hooking up the test pattern generator, adjusting the horizontal and vertical linearity and all that fun stuff, but otherwise this set's working pretty well. That's all for tonight.